Week 3 is in the books, and a lot of crazy things happen this week, that's for sure. But perhaps the craziest thing is that Buckus still hasn't changed his team! What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome, everybody, to our Week 3 Fantasy Football Recap. This is where we go over the Rottweiler Patriots Fantasy Football League, give you the rundown of last week's results, and look ahead to next week's matchups. Starting off with the first matchup from this week. It's going to be Vegas versus Titus. Vegas, with the best score of the week, 152.7 points, takes down Titus, who only had 118.26. Looking at the rundown, Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley all had really, really big days for Vegas, whereas Goff, Gibbs, and Mason did not impress for Titus. Titus did have Malik Neighbors, who had an impressive week, but Stephon Diggs had a great week for Vegas as well. The other wide receivers for each player, not particularly impressive. The tight ends, not a great day. Flex number 1's not great, but flex number 2 for both players. Kyren Williams showed out for Vegas. Charbonnet showed out for Titus. Vegas did have the edge there, though. Both kickers terrible. Fairbairn 0, Dicker 4. Defense, Tampa Bay defense 3. Raiders defense -2. Looking at the bench, you can see Prescott had a pretty darn good day for Dallas, although he did finish higher in points than Lamar Jackson did for Vegas, but it was negligible. Amari Cooper, who Vegas left on the bench, had a big day. Meanwhile, Christian Kirk and Dallas Goedert, huge days for Titus. He left them both on the bench. I think Titus's bench decisions wouldn't matter because Vegas won by such a big margin. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it didn't really matter. It was pretty. The win was pretty significant, so not really going to change much.
Yeah, big win for Vegas to improve to 2-1. He now takes second place in the league. Oh yeah, you're also 2-1. Quit crying. Alrighty, moving on to our next matchup. Matchup number 2: Shadow defeats Rowdy by a score of 117.18 to 77.72. Rowdy had a really bad week and did not make some substitutions that he should have made for injured players. Looking at it, though, Rowdy's Josh Allen had a huge day. We know Anthony Richardson, really, really bad day for Shadow. Looking at Jonathan Taylor, though, he able to make up for Richardson's failures. Meanwhile, Rowdy, not a lot in the running back room, especially with Joe Mixon, who was injured, not registering any points for him. Really bad day for both players going all the way through the tight end. Wide receivers didn't do anything, and it doesn't help, again, that Rowdy had guys on the bench instead of subbing for injury. I know he had a lot of injury, but you got to make your subs. However, looking, Rashee Rice in the flex for Shadow, a huge bonus. Alvin Kamara had a really solid day as well. Rowdy's team did not show up there, but Harrison Butker did show out for Rowdy. Jake Elliott, no points for Shadow. Dolphins defense with 7. Only 3 for the 49ers defense for Rowdy. Looking at the bench, though, both guys leaving some big, big numbers on the bench. Metcalf, McLaurin, and London all on the bench for Shadow. Meanwhile, Purdy, Moss, Kmet, Ferguson, and the Jets defense, all 5 bench players for Rowdy, should have been started, and had they all been started, Rowdy would have certainly won this one in a landslide. So a big miss by Rowdy this week. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I just hope that we can punish Rowdy for losing and then tell him that he's going to have to play sports in real life, and then maybe that'll encourage him to play a little bit more in fantasy.
Yeah, I definitely think he would prefer playing on his computer, which is what he tends to do in life. Which, hey, no shade. We need the coders. We need the programmers. We need the guy that actually makes this website possible.
Exactly.
But he definitely prefer that to real life. So we'll have to coax him. We'll have to coax him. Some of the newer players forget to check on stuff. It's an unfortunate reality. But a missed chance for Rowdy to get his first win of the year. Alrighty, moving on to matchup number 3. And that's going to be T-Bone taking on Max. T-Bone finished 132.96 to Max's 109.8. Looking at it here, Joe Burrow and Derrick Henry, both big days for T-Bone. Mahomes, Robinson, decent days, but nothing compared to what Burrow and Henry had for T-Bone. Not an impressive day for either running back, too. Only impressive wide receiver out of these two, Justin Jefferson, for T-Bone. And it's worth noting that Tank Dell, T-Bone's number 2, did better than both 1 and 2 for Max this week. Looking at tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, the winner for Max. But going over to the flex, you see Chris Godwin, really good day. Devontae Smith, decent day. Aaron Jones, really, really big day for Max, but unfortunately, Jameson Williams, very bad day, and that will hurt Max here. Kickers, unremarkable. Defense heavily favors Max, -1 to Dallas. 10 to the Steelers. Looking at the bench, Caleb Williams could have started over Mahomes. David Montgomery definitely would have wanted him in the flex where Williams was. I don't think it would have made a difference in this week's matchup, but it would have made it much, much closer. Meanwhile, no misses for T-Bone at all. He hit every single one. Now, actually, let's analyze. So 19 to 17, so that's 2 points. 21 to 1, so that's 20 points. 22 points. Would it have made a difference? It would have been really close. 22 would have brought it up to 131. So definitely some substitutions. Anything, would a running back change have made a difference anywhere else? I don't think so. So this one could have been super tight if Max had made the right plays. T-Bone nailed every single pick this week. Really impressive. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was looking kind of touch and go for Derrick Henry in the first, so I was kind of worried about that. But he, feeding him the ball did right, and that was helpful.
Really, really, really good day.
If I'm being honest, I'm just really freaking sick because I have Mahomes in a couple of my leagues. Dude, I'm sick of this. He needs to quit acting like he's washed all of a sudden. I mean, believe me, I don't mind it. But if he's going to be washed, I like a little heads up.
Sorry, no heads up allowed. But you still got the win this week, so I don't think you should. You shouldn't be complaining too much. Joe Burrow actually showed up to a football game. Unfortunately, his defense didn't.
I know. Oh my God. And I had the Bengals defense in another league.
Oh, that's rough. That is so rough.
But it's all right. Good squad. I really like what I have.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams in here. Like I could see six of us with a good shot at winning it all.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on to the fourth and final matchup from this past week. And that is going to be Bam Bam versus Butt Kiss. Bam Bam, with the second highest score of the week with 151.1, is now the only Rottweiler Patriot with a 3-0 record in fantasy football. Had a really, really good week this week against Butkus, who only 74.4 points, the lowest of the week because he did not make changes to his team, even after we pestered him. So, looking at the quarterbacks, both quarterbacks underwhelmed completely. 12 points for each running back situation. White did okay. Cook had a really good day, though. Meanwhile, McCaffrey injured Ramondre Stevenson. Much to the chagrin of many fantasy owners. Not a good week. And that just straight up screwed Butkus from the get-go. Looking at wide receivers, St. Brown and Olave, both impressive days. Jamar Chase, though, outplaying Devontae Adams, and that was a big difference maker here. Tight ends doing just about the same. Looking at your flexes, Marvin Harrison outplaying Nico Collins. James Conner doing better than Cooper Kupp, who did not play. Hey, Butkus, sub your team. Aubrey favored in the kicking battle to 11 to McPherson's 8. Green Bay's defense, 22 points. That's a huge one whereas the Baltimore Ravens only 6. So overall, just crushed by Bam Bam this week. And like looking at the bench, it's like you should have put in Najee Harris, and then he would have actually he didn't even have anyone else to sub because he didn't construct his roster properly. We need to give him some lessons. DJ Moore, maybe you missed the opportunity off the bench. You put him in for James Conner. I mean, otherwise, Bam Bam nailed his picks this week. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, kind of. Let's calm down on that 3-0 record when we had one guy that doesn't know how to do anything, and the other one is asterisk. But besides that, good picks all around, and by all around I mean all around Bam Bam's team and not Buckus's. Buckus,
buddy, make some free. Swap out your quarterbacks. You don't need 3 of these guys. Get rid of Trevor Overrated for another running back. And then maybe, put a guy on IR and scoop up a wide receiver in free agency or make a trade or something. But no, regardless, Bam Bam has definitely had lighter competition so far this year, but he did put out a big show this week, really impressive, and we'll see if he's able to maintain the 3-game win streak headed into Week 4, which is what we're going to be moving on to next. Alrighty, looking at the first matchup of Week 4, you've got the 2 best teams in the Rottweiler Patriots Fantasy Football League so far this season. You've got Vegas, who sits at 2-1, versus Bam Bam, the only undefeated Rottweiler remaining. Looking at the matchup, Lamar Jackson versus CJ Stroud. That'll be a really, really fun one. Breece Hall and Saquon Barkley versus Rachaad White and James Cook. That'll be fun. I'd say advantage Vegas. We'll have to see. Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs versus Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That one should be advantage Bam Bam, but again, gonna be fun to see what happens. Sam Laporta versus Kyle Pitts. I would say advantage Vegas, but it should be close. Looking at your flexes, Mike Evans and Kyron Williams versus Marvin Harrison and James Conner. I would argue that the advantage is to Vegas, but it looks like it's going to be really tight either way and a lot of fun. Kickers, Cameron Dicker versus Brandon Aubrey. This could be a really tight matchup. Defenses, Tampa Bay defenses versus Green Bay defenses. Again, that could be tight. This is just a tight matchup all the way around. A few supposed advantages here and there, but supposed advantages mean nothing in fantasy because fantasy's weird. On the bench for Vegas, you got Dak Prescott, J.K. Dobbins, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Cleveland Browns defense. On the bench for Bam Bam, you got Jonathan Brooks, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, and Pat Freiermuth. So a really, really close battle. Looks like it's going to be taking place this week. Lots and lots of fun. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I don't think I've ever had a athlete in any fantasy that I've ever did, because I did basketball back in middle school, any fantasy ever get exactly right. I don't think I ever did. Not once have I got the exact points of predictions. Because that's what they are, just predictions. It's a close one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's always a big clash whenever the 2 best players in a league get together. Currently, the separation line is Vegas is favored by 0.05 points. That's how tight this one is supposed to be. And perhaps some bench changes based off of how people feel things are going to go this week. We'll have to see what happens, but this is definitely the matchup of the week. Alrighty, looking at the second matchup for this week, you've got Rowdy taking on Max. And this is going to be a really close one as well. Percentages are only 48-52. The line is only 3.8 points in favor of Max. Looking at the matchups, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. I would argue advantage Rowdy here, but it could go either way if Mahomes decides to actually exist, which, since it's a division game, he might. Running backs, Travis Etienne and Joe Mixon versus Bijan Roberts and David Montgomery. This is where I think the advantage goes to Max for these two, but this I honestly think could be a really, really tight battle. Looking at wide receivers, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel versus George Pickens and Jackson Smith and Njigba. These are the 2 weakest wide receiver rooms in the league, and it's a big reason why you're looking at the only 2 winless teams this year. So one of them's going to get their first win of the year, which is a big deal, but the lack of wide receivers for both players is a big, big problem. And so whoever can win this probably wins this matchup, which I would argue, Deebo Samuel, I don't know if he's going to play, but I would argue advantage right now to Max. Looking at tight ends, Evan Ingram versus Dalton Kincaid, advantage Max there. Flexes, Michael Pittman, Calvin Ridley versus Jameson Williams and Aaron Jones. It's close, but advantage Max for me on this one as well. Kickers, Harrison Butker versus Jake Moody. You never know with kickers. It's schizophrenic every week. I mean, you'll get Fairbairn. He's putting up 27 points one week and 0 the next week. Defense, 49ers defense versus Steelers defense. I think this will be a close one as well. I would favor the Steelers defense because I think Anthony Richardson's good for a pick or two, especially with the pressure they're going to put him under. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Looking at the bench, Brock Purdy, Zach Moss, Cole Kmet, Jake Ferguson, and the New York Jets defense for Rowdy. And looking at Max's bench, you got Caleb Williams, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Xavier Worthy, and George Kittle. So Max with a much better bench, a larger pool of players to pull from. He is currently with the advantage, but it looks like it could be a really tight one if Rowdy changes his players out. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, it would be close if Rowdy decides to play today.
Yeah, it does look like he's a little cleaner now, although it might just be those guys coming back from injury. We'll have to see what happens, though. Could be a really, really fun matchup. Alrighty, looking at the third game for the week, you've got Butkus taking on Titus. Butkus needs to swap his players. If he would do that, this is a 50-50 game, especially McCaffrey. Anyone else? Cup. Get them both. Swap them both. Anyway, Jalen Hurts versus Jared Goff. That could be a really, really fun one. Both playing good defenses, though, so it'll be curious to see what happens. McCaffrey and Stevenson versus Gibbs and Mason. Definitely advantage to Titus on this one. Devontae Adams, Chris Olave versus Malik Neighbors, Chris Godwin. Again, I would say advantage Titus, but it could be close. These two, there's a lot of inconsistency with all forward receivers, I would say, but I think it favors the right side over here. Kelsey versus Goddard. Kelsey is projected high, but you never know. He's been kind of quiet, and the team's been focusing on shutting him down, so you'll have to see what happens. Nico Collins and Cooper Kupp. Kupp needs to be sub versus Jerome Ford and Zach Charbonnet. Collins is the big favorite for Butkus in the flex here. So if he subs out Kupp for a different player, we'll look at the bench in a minute, the flex will absolutely favor Butkus here. Evan McPherson's versus Kearney Fairbairn. The kickers are always whatever happens. Same thing with defenses. Ravens versus Chiefs. Ravens, I think, is going to struggle with Josh Allen, so advantage Chiefs here. Looking at the bench, you got Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Najee Harris, T.J. Hawkinson, and Younghoe Koo. Najee Harris has to go in for Christian McCaffrey, and he doesn't actually own most of the flex, so he's got to swap a quarterback out for someone. We'll talk to him. We will. I just want to talk to him.
I won't talk to him.
Yeah,
I already asked him. He said no. I'm fine with having a definite loser. You kidding me?
Anyway, other bench for Max, you got not Max, whoever. You got Matthew Stafford, Jalen Reed, Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson, and Jalen Waddle. That's Titus's bench. T-Bone, your thoughts on this matchup?
Same thing for always. Butkus. If Butkus decides to play, he'll be good. Same with a lot of these people. They suck if they didn't. They suck, but if they decided to play, they'd be good.
A lot of really good teams being marred by people just not checking their stuff. Which, I mean, even the longtime players forget to check sometimes. So.
Yeah, totally.
And finally, matchup number 4. You've got Shadow taking on T-Bone. This one figures to be a really, really close and really fun matchup as well. We'll have to take a look at the battles. Jaden Daniels versus Joe Burrow. These two battled out in Monday Night Football this past week. Daniels came out on top. It'll be interesting to see what happens because I think both guys can have good weeks here. I don't know who has the advantage at the moment. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor and Devon Achane versus Derrick Henry and DeAndre Swift. I would say advantage to Shadow on this one, but could be pretty tight. Wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb and Garrett Wilson versus Justin Jefferson and Tank Dell. Again, advantage Shadow, but it has the potential to be really tight. Mark Andrews versus Taylor McBride. Tight end should go to T-Bone here. Looking at your flexes, Rashee Rice and Alvin Kamara versus A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but I would definitely say advantage to Shadow here. Jake Elliott and Justin Tucker battling it out. You never know with the kicker. Same thing with the defenses. Dolphins playing the Titans. Cowboys playing the Giants. Both playing teams that have the potential to turn the ball over a lot. So this will be definitely something to look at. I think this could possibly be decided by the defense this week. Looking at the bench for Shadow, Anthony Richardson, DK Metcalf, Scary Terry, Drake London, Rashid Shaheed. For T-Bone, you got Kyler Murray, Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Pacheco, Brock Bowers, and Daniel Carlson on the bench. So a really fun and really tight matchup. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I honestly gave a look at this team a little bit ago. 54-46. I wish Swift was used more, and it pisses me off. I'll figure it out.
Swift isn't a use issue. He sucks.
No, he doesn't. Oh my god,
dude! Watch
god,
his tape this year is very.
His tape this year. Shut up. I'll be fine. I'll win like always.
You haven't always won. You're at 2-1.
Oh, are we bringing up asterisk again?
Oh.
I still think Van Pence.
God forbid. We gave a chance.
I know.
For an appeal.
I know. And
okay,
that's why
so you don't get to put the asterisk on it.
I absolutely do. That's no. The appeal is with the asterisk, big boy. That's exactly all right. I'm done with this. You're crazy. You're crazy, and you're out. You're out for me. I know it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you're the one who's been harping on me way more than I've ever harped on you over a trade that two sides mutually agreed to. Two sides that are both doing pretty well right now, I might add. Could be the top two in the league after this week. So, sometimes things do work out for both sides. But regardless, this looks like it'll be a really, really, really fun matchup. And can't wait to see what happens. There you have it, folks. Those are your results from last week, and those are your matchups headed into Week 4. Got a lot of great games. Going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what happens. Please be sure to let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let us know who you're rooting for or anything else. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.